Welcome to Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball, fueled by Gatorade. And welcome back to the Valley of the Sun, where we've officially hit the halfway point of the 2024 campaign. The middle day of our middle week is on tap, where our athletes will look to make a major move up the leaderboard or further cement their status with Week 4 coming into focus. We invite you to meet us in the middle for Athletes Unlimited Week 3 action, starting now. Here's a look at our top 10. A couple of athletes starting to run away with things. Brittany and Betty on fire. Manami Kojima, we'll talk about her in a moment, making a surge now into that top 4. And with that, we welcome you courtside here, Arizona Athletic Grounds, joined by our favorite middle, the Olympian, Key Michael. Greg Meskel here with you. Key, we get things going first, looking at Team Drew's, Team De La Cruz Mejia. Betty's had the magic touch with assembling rosters. How does Team Drew slow down that squad?
It's going to be tough because Betty has prioritized ball control over power, possibly for the first time in her drafting career, but she's put together one of the best teams we've ever seen from her. If I'm Team Drews, I need to make sure I put up 2 blockers on 2 players. That's Betty and Kat Bell at all times.
Now let's take a look at some of the other key pieces that we'll see today. A couple of rookies that are making a push, making a name for themselves. And we start first, well-known internationally, but Manami Kojima on the rise here in AU Pro Volleyball.
Manami Kojima, a.k.a. the Kojima, was a standout star on Friday night, which is hard to do. As a libero, the Paris Olympian had 20 digs and a smile on her face the entire time, and her swan dive is one of the most graceful I've ever seen. She's one of Betty's small but mighty favorites, and now becoming a fan favorite, and I personally would love to see her end up in that captain's chair.
To the other side of the net, the opposite, Kelsey Payne.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the Batman and Robin duos on the court this season. Kelsey Payne plays that role for Brooke Nuneviller, who she's been paired with for the 3rd week in a row. Kelsey's tasked with providing that heavy arm while Brooke plays a more defensive role, but both will need to step up in order for the other to shine tonight. Kelsey's numbers have been growing match by match. She earned a starting role halfway into week 1, and she needs to bring that balance. That purple needs to put pressure on the powerhouse on the other side.
And here we go, just about ready to get things started. Team Drews in the purple, Team De La Cruz Mejia in the orange. De La Cruz Mejia winners over Team Member Mene on Friday, 72-64. Drews falling to Abercrombie, 75-68, but finished on a high note, took that final set, and so maybe something to build on here for Team Drews. Yeah,
a lot to build on, and again, week 1 we learned some things. The next day, we learn a lot more, and every day is a school day for these teams.
Here we go. First period's underway, just got out of homeroom. Team Drews now goes to work. The captain herself. And now we'll see Betty deliver, and that's in, finding that back row. Good start for the squad in orange.
Yeah, the trouble with Betty, she's the captain, she's the powerhouse of this orange squad. She's going to get her kills. She's going to get a lot of attempts. The problem is if you leave her too much space at the net, you've got to put 2 blockers every single time.
A long list of problems Betty causes for the opposition. Here's a good set. Berkeley Oblad on the move. Good to see her back in the mix. Back to Betty, a little off balance. Didn't matter.
Yeah, here again, the trouble continues because she's just going to find a way to get through that block. She's going over, she'll go through it, she'll go past it. I like that she's put together a squad that prioritizes that first contact because she can then just be that outlet to score.
Let's see if Team Drews can make something happen here. And a misfire there into the net. Nuneviller trying from the back row. And make it 3-0. So exactly what Team Drews did not want out of the gate here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Tori Dixon was a question mark coming into this match. You see her left hand is all taped up in orange. I think she just jammed her finger at training the other day and wasn't sure if she'd start, but she's a crucial ingredient in the blocking lineup.
Oblad again, and there's a point for Team Drews, and Berkeley Oblad the kill. Give her +8, by the way. Just see our leaderboard flowing by on the left side of your screen, and now 3-1.
Yeah, Berkeley Oblad is someone who's just excited to play volleyball again. She's been sitting out the first couple of weeks, and I spoke to her before this match. She said it feels like the end of the world when you don't get to play volleyball.
Back to Betty. Different side of the court, same result, and she is on a tear to get things underway on this Sunday afternoon, now 4-1.
So 3 sets from Natty Valentine Anderson. All 3 have gone to her captain.
Well, and it seems obvious now that we talk about it, but genius idea, right, for the hitter to really put a premium on ball control so that she can be in a good spot to deliver.
Exactly. Yep.
Service error there. Throws her hands up. My bad. And the point to Team Drews there. We talked a bit about the point service error, -8. So Betty's been piling up the points with the kills, but now subtracts 8 from her own individual tally. Now Sydney Hilly. Looking outside again, this time not Betty. And the second effort is on the money, delivering with some authority. Kat Bell, the other hitter you spoke about at the top.
Yeah, these were the 2 top scorers in the last match, and they're paired up for the first time together this season, but they are a really strong pair. They have equally skills in all areas.
So much versatility across the board here in AU Pro Volleyball. Free ball here for the Orange squad to work with. Bell denied, but works the block to perfection into the antenna, and the point to Team De La Cruz Mejia. So a 6-2 start here. Mentioned Tori Dixon. You can see that left hand there, well taped, but a gamer. Quick set to the middle, and Caffey delivering.
Caffey is someone I want to see more of as well. I love watching her play. I think her mom's even in the stadium here today said, I love listening because you're always hyping her up. And I said, it's so easy. Look at the way she plays.
A captain earlier this season, the middle out of Chicago, played at Missouri and Nebraska. And so with a tough start here for Team Drews, can't really get in a point-for-point battle. Have to start to put a run together, 7-3 early in the first. And Bell from the service line. They go back outside, Nunaviller, and Kojima couldn't believe it, was in position, a rare miscue.
Yeah, Kojima classically in the right position. She often is because she reads the game so well. The Japanese libero has played at such a high level, part of that Olympic squad in Paris.
And there's the service error there from Caffey.
So as the match starts to unravel, or unfold, I suppose I should say, I'm going to keep my eyes on where this purple side is serving on the orange squad. Are they targeting Betty? Are they targeting somewhere else?
Ace. It's all clicking right now, 9-4. How about the delivery there from Claire Hoffman? The Washington grad drops it in the bucket.
Yeah, and that's not even a super hard-driven ball. That's just a miscommunication.
But right back, Oblad. This is the nature of AU, the redraft each week. You get to day 2, teams start to find their rhythm a bit more. Certainly feels that way with the squad in orange, even after the win, right? Maybe even more in sync.
Yeah, and they have a lot of weapons, and I love that Nati, for example, right on cue, using one of those other weapons. We don't see a lot of numbers from the middles on the orange side. She's often throwing that ball high out to her pins. Nati loves using Capel and Betty, but when that ball is on, she's got some real firepower in someone like Kaz Brown.
And there's an error, so give a point back to Team Drews. So we saw Kaz Brown sub out there for the moment, Kojima returning. And now Brooke Nunaviller, part of a good little crew from Oregon here in Athletes Unlimited. Played for the Ducks, and was a captain back in week 1. Error there to the tape. And you get it down early here, want to serve aggressively, try to manufacture something, but giving a point back, and it'll go back now to Natalia Valentine Anderson. Drews can go to work here and works the block. So Danny Drews getting in the mix.
And that's a really good point for the purple side to get Nati off the line. She's one of the strongest, sneaky strong servers for Betty's team. So to target Danny Drews, if she's able to receive that well, then get that ball off the hands, that's an immediate turnover for the purple side.
Oblad, that one might have been tailing out. They play it anyway. The tip here from Dixon, little dump to that back corner. Well done from Hilly.
That's a great shot by Hilly. I feel as though she's reading that really well. Watch her eyes. She's looking how all of the players are in front of her. She knows that corner is going to be open.
First 2-point run in this one for the squad in purple. Block holds for the moment. From the back row, Nuneviller takes flight. Long set here. Block holding once more. Rally developing. Betty tries to finish it off to no avail. Back to Drews. Off a couple of touches and out of play. And now the squad in purple finding their footing.
Yeah, looking a little more confident, a little more calm. And again, Danny's going to be relied on to do a lot of out-of-system cleanup balls. So I love how high she swings. Again, she's a lefty there on the outside. That's a different look for the blockers.
Back to Betty. This worked earlier, and it works here again. Just an absolute blast off of Oblad. Let's see Betty checking to make sure everything okay there.
Oh yeah, she could do some damage. You could lose some brain cells if you took a Betty ball to the face.
So make it 12-9 now. Good little run there from Team Drews to battle back in this one, our first set. Such pace on that ball from De La Cruz Mejia. But speaking of pace, Caffey on the slide.
Yeah, Caffey was way too quiet in the last match for my liking. I love that she's stepping into a bit more of a role. We only saw 6 points from her in the last match, and 3 of them were kills. So I'd love to see Sydney Hilly utilize her more.
Looking outside. Nuneviller ready. Hilly will look for Drews. The block ready. Little quick set. And a point in favor of Drews. Love the creativity there from Hilly just to get that up quick.
Yeah, she didn't have an easy job there by any means, but just a couple of, I think it was just one-handed little lift, little scoopy. But Caffey, I mean, she feels it as well. Setter knows better than anyone when there's a hot hand and wants to give that ball every time that she can.
Looking outside once again, and the dive there from Lake, but not enough. Give the kill back to De La Cruz Mejia. It closed to within 1, now 13-12, so second look here.
We talk about Hoffman not being an offensive part of Betty's strategy. She can get her kills, though. She's not in there for that purpose, but she certainly can.
Certainly asked a bit more of her at Washington on the offensive end, right? But everyone's trying to find their role here, especially in that draft. Captains have an idea in mind. What a block there up front from Kaz Brown. Brown again!
Well, speaking of setters knowing when there's a hot hand, middles know it too, and she's watching the same game we are. Caffey got a couple balls in a row, so you see her move early. You see her kind of cheat in that direction, a couple of tiny little steps, and then it's just the final little calf movement, really. It's not even a full jump.
Back-to-back blocks there from Brown. To Drews down the line and out. And with that, we have come to our first break here in the first. De La Cruz Mejia looking for their second win on the weekend, in front 15-11 early. Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball is fueled by Gatorade. Welcome back. Set one here. Team De La Cruz Mejia leading Team Drews 15-11. With that, let's welcome in the third member of our team, Savannah Collins, with more on Danny Drews.
Team Drews entered today coming off of a loss on Friday, but yesterday at practice they had some time to work things out. Captain Danny Drews told me they really focused on solidifying the hitter's connection with setter Sydney Hilly, in particular the middles and opposites. She felt they were too heavy with the left side offense and it made them predictable. What she particularly does not want for this group is the mentality that comes from playing behind. She wants the hitters confident to swing for points and an aggressive approach from the service line, not afraid to make mistakes. That's what she felt like they kind of stuck in that mentality on Friday, and she does not want that for them today.
Thanks, Savannah. And Key, that's tough because De La Cruz Mejia in this match gets off to such a hot start, so already you find yourself in that spot you didn't want to be if you're Team Drews.
And it's interesting, Savannah gave us a lot of information there. The only thing I heard is more middle. More middle, more cowbell and more middle. But it's a good point that Danny makes there. Don't get stuck in a mindset of really anything. Every match is fresh. And also she's looking at the stats saying, yeah, we're a little pin heavy. That does get predictable. The blockers start to read that. Involve all your attackers. That's why they're there.
Gia Day on now to serve here. To Drews, the tip. Now bring it back to Hoffman, and Kathy was there. A little frustration for the crew in purple as Hoffman able to deliver.
I wonder if I'm going to be eating my words at the end of this broadcast. As I've said, Hoffman's not even an offensive. She's not there for that. Hang on a sec. She's definitely got some tricks up her sleeve.
I mean, we're pretty close, so she may have heard you and thought, get me involved. That's 4 in a row for the crew in orange. Not anymore. As coming back with the kill there, Kelsey Payne.
Yeah, she's someone we watched, we're keeping an eye on, and we will continue to do so because she's there for that role. We know that you've got Drews and Nunaviller for some stability in the reception. They're going to try and be offensive, but Nunaviller likes to have less pressure in the offense, which means Payne has to pick up a bit more.
Star in the Big 12 during her college days, and here's Bell. Payne was there, just couldn't corral that one, and Kat Bell back to work.
And Kathy's doing exactly what we thought she would. She puts 2 blockers up on Kat Bell, gets in the right place. But Bell, one of those swingers that just has all angles available.
Here one with AU for Kat Bell. Here's Payne, tries to redirect that one. Overpass, setting it up for Payne. The block hangs tight. And it's Hoffman. He's on a tear right now, Key.
I mean, why not, right? If you keep getting the ball, and I like this from Nati as well, just keep feeding her. Because we talk about her not being one of the offensive stars, make her a star, absolutely.
18-12, and able to get one back, Brooke Nunaviller. So remember, Team Drews had closed to within 1. De La Cruz Mejia on a run here again. Now Team Drews able to stop that bleeding a bit, but inching a bit closer here towards 25. Some of that staying power, now closing power from the squad in orange. On the slide there for Brown. Now Payne with the redirect attempt. And Bell from the back row, pure heat.
I'm trying to have a look at why that ball's falling because there's 2 players in the defense there, but I think they got caught a little bit too close to each other, so neither one went for the ball because they both were pretty much on top of each other there.
Close to an overpass, they're able to clean it up. Back to Betty. Works the block, takes the point, and De La Cruz Mejia continues. And with that, we have our first chair chat of the day. Let's welcome in from the squad in orange, Gia Day. Gia, thanks for stopping by. Give us a little sense of the vibe when your team can get off such a good start. How does that energy kind of radiate throughout the entire roster?
Yeah, of course. Betty's just so incredible at kind of setting the tone. not even on the court. I'm speaking about as a captain before the game. Our goal was come in aggressive. That was our one goal. And I think we've done a great job of that today, setting the tone for the entire match. Kind of bringing the aggressiveness to them instead of having them play and bring the aggressiveness to us.
Gia, you've kind of played a few different roles already this season. You didn't play a lot in the first weeks, and then you got your starting role, and now you find yourself back playing more of a secondary substitution role. Can you walk us through that as a player, like sort of emotionally, and how does that take a toll on you as a player?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get in this mindset of, okay, I'm not playing, I'm bad at volleyball, I'm bad at life. High five to Nati. But just, I think morning time is so important to be able to center yourself each day and say, hey, I am so amazing at what I do. And there's so many ways that I can bring a lot of value to the team no matter what. So I think that that's a skill that I've had to learn this year because it's been a long time since I've sat the bench. But yeah, I think it's a skill that I can take the rest of my life and just make the most of each moment no matter where I am.
I love that.
Kaz Brown, in the meantime, all smiles as her attack kind of walks a tightrope along the entire tape and falls in. We're talking here with Gia Day. Last thing for you, Gia, just day 2 here in the middle of this weekend. How do you feel like the team starts to coalesce as one after the draft process and one day of competition?
Yeah, so I think it all just depends on how we can each be flexible as people, as human beings. Because the team dynamic changes so much each week depending on who's standing next to you. And I think that's been such a cool thing to learn here. I didn't really realize it was that big of a deal. Like the whole team really changes with each person that's on the team. So I think just being able to appreciate each other's strengths and personalities has been something that we've all had to really learn and grow in. And this team has such a calm, happy personality. Calm, goofy, sassy, happy. I think we all kind of really gel together. Of course, you guys know who brings the sass.
You have the sass, Gia? Is that you?
Betty, for sure, hands down.
Betty Nati.
Betty Nati, yes. But yes, we just have so much fun, and it's such a strong thing to have to work on is how do you connect with the people around you and how can you connect as a team.
Awesome.
That's excellent. Hey, Gia, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
Gia Day in the chair here as her squad in the orange, closing in on 25. Great hustle there from Blossom to try to track that one down, keep it alive, and we play on. For Payne, a touch, and the point to Team Drews, trying to make one more surge here. 22-17 now.
Woo, what a rally. That felt like the longest rally of my life. And I'm just sitting here watching.
Gabby Blossom, you mentioned, come on, serving here, and an easy put down for Drews. Simplest point she's had all afternoon thus far, and add another one back, 22-18, and of course another +8 for Danny Drews personally. There's Blossom, setter on that great USD squad that made a run a couple of years ago in the college game. Quick set, Dixon. 23-18 now.
I just love seeing more Dixon in the offense on the orange side, more Kaz Brown in the offense. It might sound like a broken record that I want to see more middle, but we know that Betty can score points. We know that Kat Bell's going to get them. When Nati has a chance to use her other weapons, I love seeing her do it.
Here's Betty, always a threat for an ace, 12 of them thus far. Tricky to handle, but Lake is up to the task. Kojima likewise. Back row, Betty, rocket fuel. 24-18. Second look at this.
Look how open she is. She's got 2 blockers to her right side, and look, cheeky little smile there as she turns around because she knew she had that in the bag.
Set point. Looks like we have a challenge here.
Yeah. Maybe that's what Betty's also smirking at, saying there's no chance that my feet were over the line.
That was a look of, I know exactly where my feet were.
Yeah,
They were not over the line.
Example of being where your feet are is Betty.
So don't forget, captain's challenges here initiated by our captains, each team entitled to 2 challenges per set. Should we go to that truly amazing golden set, there would be an added challenge. Let's get a closer look. I'm not sure this one will tell you right away. Some body screening.
Yeah, Nati in the way there, but I think you can, you know, from physics, you can deduce that her feet were nowhere close to the line. I mean, I'm no specialist when it comes to geometry or anything to do with numbers or angles or math.
I'm terrible at math, so please, no algebra especially, but either way, not enough video evidence to overturn that, and so the call stands. Team Drews with our first challenge of the day, and now set point here in the first. Betty serving. Looking for Drews. Orange now to try and finish it off. Works the block, and that'll do it. It's Hoffman who had an excellent opening set, and Team De La Cruz Mejia keeps on rolling. They take the first 40 points for everybody in the squad in orange as they pick up our first set, 25-18. Got off to that hot start. Team Drews got within 1, couldn't get any closer. Betty and company up 1 early.
Being an inspiration to the next generation is honestly why I play volleyball still. I think that's something that really, really drives me. When I was growing up, I didn't have a volleyball role model that I could watch all the time.
I want to show all of these little kids you can do anything you put your mind and heart to. With discipline, hard work, good attitude, good things happen.
If you want to make this a career path and you want to put in the work, and it is my favorite career that I've had so far, and I hope that young women understand that they can do this and it is an option, and it is truly so fulfilling to be a professional athlete.
Starlings Volleyball USA believes every girl deserves the opportunity to play volleyball regardless of socioeconomic background or level of play. Athletes Unlimited and our athletes seek to amplify that mission to widen the pool of participation within the sport. And we got some Starlings athletes on hand here today. Second set on the way, 25-18. The first one went the way of the orange. And Claire Hoffman, maybe not the first person we talked about for De La Cruz Mejia, but she came up big, Key.
And this is what makes this De La Cruz Mejia side so strong, is that the weapons keep emerging. If you put a couple blocks up on the pins, guess who stands out now? Claire Hoffman getting a lot more opportunity to show what she can do. Out-of-system plays, that serve you saw, she's kind of one of those crucial ingredients that goes under the radar. In fact, Betty said of her, she's quiet but effective when I went to speak to her before the match, and that's exactly what she wants in that role next to her.
Look at some of our stats here through the first, and obviously the final score, the assists. Team De La Cruz Mejia really getting their group involved, and I think of that initial burst from Betty, and then when they made the second push, it was within 1 point, and they pushed again, and a lot of that was the assist game.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that as we spoke about Nati, utilizing all of her weapons there, you can see 17 to 12 assists. She's finding ways to just use different parts of her game. She has the opportunity when she's got a good ball in. Again, we spoke about Hoffman being a big part of that reception game and stabilizing that first contact. So Nati can be creative. She can use Betty, she can use Hoffman, she can use Cabell, she can go to her middles. It just becomes a much more fun game to watch.
Whether it's Claire Hoffman or anyone else, rep your favorite volleyball athlete. The AU Pro Shop has player t-shirt options available for the entire 2024 roster in both youth and adult. Check out our online store at shop.auprosports.com. And now let's check in with Savannah Collins.
Listening into that purple huddle and hearing from Danny Drews, she said passing and attacking is where it needs to be, but there was a ton of emphasis on the block defense. They talked about Claire Hoffman. We have to have good hands against her because she is taking smart shots right now. And there was a lot of emphasis on Kat Bell. Key, I love your insight on this. They talked a lot about how pins, we need you to jump in with your hands, and middles, we need you to come across. Maybe let's give Kat Bell a little bit more line, but watch for her to hit outside the block. Has that something that you noticed from this purple team is something they could clean up going into the second set, is this block defense?
Well, there's a perfect example of it right on cue, Savannah. Belle has so many options, and this is why she's such a difficult player to block against. And when you're talking about lining up against her, the middles want to take a little more cross, but then the outsides have to be close to that middle, because if they leave that little bit of gap, that's what you just saw. She'll go for that. If you leave her the line, she'll take the line. If you go leave cross, she'll take cross.
Teams will switch sides here as we get started in the second. Team De La Cruz Mejia in the orange, Team Drews in the purple. Looking for the captain, Danny Drews. Cross-court connect is there. And a 1-1 score here. You see our real-time leaderboard. Individual points, of course, amassed, not just for the stats on the court, but also the victories earned. And so Team De La Cruz Mejia, everyone picking up a plus 40 there, along with the stats earned. And you can see where everyone is looking to climb, where they sit, what might be with another match to come after this one. And all the way near the top of that board, Betty De La Cruz Mejia serving now for her squad. And that goes long. Everyone just kind of holds their breath, Key, waiting for that to unload. It's the calm before the storm to see what kind of pace she'll put on that ball. Service errors, so she loses some points, and Drews will take the point.
Yeah, Drew's side will be happy to have her off the line.
Looking outside to Hoffman. She's going to go-to, again, working the block. And this is the depth of AU Pro Volleyball. Claire Hoffman, of course, we're talking about initially Betty and Kat Bell, Kaz Brown, others. But Claire Hoffman in college, all Pac-12, All-American pick. These are super, super talented athletes. Just speaks to how challenging it is to get your moment.
And that's why I wanted to ask Gia Day when we had her in that chair chat, who's in now to serve, is that she's had a fantastic international career. She is a superstar in her own right, and yet she's sitting the bench on some of these matches, which is phenomenal to me, but you have to kind of, as an athlete, understand that your role changes. And just like Gia said to us in that chair chat, that you have to learn to adapt and be productive and give something to your team in different ways that you maybe haven't done throughout your career before. It's fascinating.
Well, we were talking a bit about this earlier today, but it's one of the interesting things about Athletes Unlimited. The captains draft the teams. Yes, there are facilitators for each squad, as we'll get something here for Bell, and the tip is well done, and the point to the orange team. But what is that process like? You played in this league to understand where you fit and how you can expect to play or not to play.
It's kind of difficult, I have to be completely honest with you, because when you go play overseas or for a pro team, your coach tells you beforehand, this is the role I see for you, this is where I see you fitting in the squad. You kind of know beforehand. When you come here, you all come with the same expectation. I want to play, I want to do my best. But it's not until that draft day that you really understand where you're going to be on that team, because some of these players last week were starters, now they're sitting the bench, and vice versa. So it can take a little bit of an emotional toll for you.
It has got to be challenging. Again, only 44 athletes, so it's not a league of 200 athletes. As you said, everyone knows they can play at a very high level. They've done it, as the kill is there for Danny Drews. And so definitely also puts an emphasis on that teamwork. I thought Gia Day, you hit on her interview as well, had such a good holistic approach to the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And how everyone works together as one, and the idea of supporting each other and really being that best teammate, even if you aren't playing a whole lot.
And it's fascinating when you watch the warm-up. If you come early enough to watch it, these two teams are on the court together, almost warming up together. So everyone knows each other really, really well.
That's outside the antenna, and give the point to De La Cruz Mejia. And really, doesn't it benefit you to have a sense of how everyone works? You just might be their teammate next week.
Yeah, there's some pros and cons. There's some thorns with the pedals, because yes, you get to know a little bit of everyone, but you only get a little bit. So week on week, maybe you have a new setter, maybe you have a new receiver. You got to learn it all fresh.
Going middle, big block, but excellent hustle from Nunaviller to keep that alive. Oh, Lake took an absolute rocket there from Kaz Brown. Kojima stands tall. Now to Betty. A rare soft touch. Oblad a little off balance. Back to Betty. The dig. We continue on. Here's Payne. Back row. Keep it going. Payne will push it across. Can Betty finish things? Down the line and in. Now, was that the longest rally of your life?
I mean, it felt pretty long as well. I wanted to say that the purple side there had a couple of missed opportunities. There were a couple of times, I'm thinking specifically of when Oblad had an open net against Betty and wasn't able to find the connection, and that's a perfect example of what we just spoke about. Oblad, a couple of weeks not training, out with an injury, didn't train with any of these setters. Now she has a brand new setter effectively, and that connection, they have to find it so quickly.
You had one approach there, kind of took the long way around towards the pin, and that takes you a bit out of sorts. And De La Cruz Mejia gets the point here, 7-5. But now giving it right back is Kaz Brown, 7-6. And so if your team drews a better start in this second set, you're not finding yourself in such a giant hole to begin.
Yeah, but I still think they have to take advantage of a little bit more. They've missed 6 service errors so far. They have to force Betty's team to make a play, and there's a good reason for it.
Valentine Anderson, the dump, catches everyone off guard and gets another back.
Nati's one of my favorite players to watch, and I think Betty as well. She said, yeah, she's one of my small players, big stars. She was speaking about Nati and Manami Kojima. The two of them play so much bigger than their stature.
Back row here from Nunaviller. And Hoffman can only look at her hands in disbelief. She was there, just couldn't keep that one in play. We mentioned the point earlier for Valentine Anderson, her first of the day, but has 18 assists to go along with that, as now Sydney Hilly, speaking of setters, will get her chance. Betty blocked. Big time block up front from Drews.
Capel on the other side saying immediately, that's me, I've got that. There's the big swing, falls all the way on the other side of the court. That's volleyball 101, you gotta cover your hitters.
Goes right back to Bell, looking to make amends. Drews goes over the block. Lake is there for the dig. Oh, last touch off of the team in purple. And that was, again, a little discombobulated, right? Setting right behind to De La Cruz, but she seems to make something happen with any ball.
So much discombobulation going on there. Great word. But yeah, Betty just doesn't really get phased. She's seen everything. She'll find a way to score.
Longtime pro. The block up front. Dixon, Bell covering the net. And Betty now back to serve from the Dominican Republic. 13th week as a captain. It's a record across all the AU sports. She's gotten very, very good at assembling teams and continues to pick up the wins as well. Caffey didn't have complete control. It almost worked as it danced off the tape. She'll take it again and push it across. Good hustle there, Valentine Anderson. Bell, hammer it down, and Kat Bell has another for De La Cruz Mejia, and we've got more with Savannah Collins.
Well, Greg, you're exactly right. Betty De La Cruz Mejia is in an AU category all of her own. Like you said, this is her 13th time as a captain. She's the only AU athlete ever in any sport to do that. And Lecator member Monet gave me a really great insight on what it's like to play for her. She said Betty isn't selfish with her knowledge. She will point things out to you. She will place confidence into you until you believe it too. This is what she said. She will share until you get it right, and she will believe until you do too. Betty creates comfortable teams, and that's something you'll hear from the people who play around her. The passers are comfortable, the hitters are comfortable, and it's because of the direction and belief she gives them.
Betty and company, 12-8, they lead. Team Drews wants to take a timeout. We'll step aside as well. De La Cruz Mejia leading Team Drews 12-8 after taking the first. Now let's go into the game with the U.S. Air Force. More from Natalia Valentine Anderson, the setter for Team Orange.
Let's go, it's game day! Vamos duro! With the music, Manami. Yes! Bravo! Baby! Wow! Is it open?
No, it's over, but you know, ricochet.
No, I think I need to close the line. Yay! Bravo! Nice job. Hey, I think I gotta go faster.
Yeah, more pull and go. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. In! Hey! What a freaking block, guys! Hey, perfect, both of you. Nice job, Tori. Buen servicio.
Nati, one of the most fiery players, certainly on the court, if not in volleyball in general. I remember playing against her actually back in France, back in the day, making me feel old. But that was the one thing I thought about her. She always had that kind of, that sparky, spunky fire in her eyes. And for such a, you know, lack of a better word, small player, she plays so big.
Brings the energy, the enthusiasm. I love us getting to hear a little of her insights, sharing some of her excitement with her teammates. Hoffman tools the block. The point there, and 5 in a row now for Team De La Cruz Mejia, 13-8. You mentioned it earlier, Key. Team Drews had some opportunities. It was a very close set early on. They didn't take advantage, and now Team De La Cruz Mejia, one of these squads that maybe they're too good. If you leave that door open, they're going to run right through it.
Yeah, they absolutely are. You cannot give them any more than a finger. They'll take the whole arm.
Off the head of Bell. Sounds painful.
Yeah.
Drews stuffed. But give the point. She's able to sneak it inside there. Well done from Danny Drews. And now Drews will serve. Stellar career at Utah. Finds Bell. She finds the back line, and De La Cruz Mejia gets right back to work on the offensive end of things.
Yeah, we keep seeing these sparks of greatness, and it kind of goes in pieces, right? Nati finding a little bit with Kat Bell, and then she'll go back to the middles, then she goes back to Hoffman, and then she's going back to Betty. There's just so many pieces, moving parts at the same time.
8 kills now for Bell. Payne. More Bell. More of the same. Kat Bell loaded up.
All right, I know I talk a lot about her being a former middle, but that's a perfect example of it. Watch her feet. Doesn't have a lot of space, just kind of takes a little side step and goes straight up. That's a middles move. That's a, I don't need an approach. I just need to be springy and go straight up.
It all comes back to the middles.
Hey, I mean,
just my opinion.
It's our world, you know?
Payne. They needed that. Team Drews trying to hang around here. Kelsey Payne out of Austin, Texas. In her first year, we hit on her at the top. And Team Drews, Payne, Drews, wherever it is, more offense has to come here.
Yeah, I need to see more out of Payne. She has to be that balanced piece on the purple side.
A little back and forth there at the net. Payne able to push that across, free ball, and it sets it up quite nicely for Kaz Brown, who does not miss from there.
And there's a perfect example of when that ball goes right on Nati's head. I don't think she had to take more than one step, and she could just fire that into Brown. And Nati loves to use speed in her offense. She will, whenever she can, add speed.
Bell serving, now Nuneviller off the block. And Brooke Nuneviller getting a point back for Team Drews.
Nunaviller is someone who was relied on really heavily for her own offense when she was captain of her own squad. Taking a little bit of a backseat role here on the Drews side.
6 kills now for Nunaviller, and Drews now with some defense.
All right, nothing backseat about this block. Nunaviller, 1 step and the close back in. That's something that Savannah was talking about, blockers having to throw their hands back towards the court, because if you face the court, that's where the ball will end up.
Hoffman on the attack here. Payne. And another for Team Drews, and frustration there for De La Cruz Mejia because the block is there, just couldn't get it back across.
Yeah, and as a blocking, I see exactly what's going on there. The ball went, the blockers put their arms up, but they didn't press over the net, and that's the difference. You got to kind of seal that gap right there.
Kind of that space between the hand and the net where the ball can drop in.
You kind of want to be offensive even when you're on the defensive. You want to put your arms onto the other side of the net, so the ball just doesn't even have a chance to cross that plane.
A fear there of making contact, is that why you see a blocker try to pull back a little bit?
Exactly, and if you see blockers kind of batting at it, that's a kind of a rookie mistake as well, because you'll find you'll catch the edge.
Betty tried to make something out of nothing there, and that's a 4th hit as Team Drews on the move here. 17-14 now. It seemed as if De La Cruz Mejia was going to pull away. Team Drews again showing some of their fight. Brooke Nunaviller has played a major role there. She'll step out for a moment, but just the intensity she's brought seems to have spread around this squad along with Danny Drews. And here's Erin Fairs, the outside hitter from Houston on. Looking for Betty, pushing and able to find the right spot.
All right, so that's a great serve, first of all. That ball dropping right over in that corner. Kaz Brown having to take the first contact. Ball's then off the net. She can't get involved in the offense. It has to go outside to Betty.
Off the tape, the hustle from Drews. Back row here. That bangs off the tape as well. Back to Betty, denied. Oblad up high.
Great block by Oblad. Betty starting to get a little frustrated. It looks like things not going as smooth as they were, and she's on the floor, has to step up off the ground and swing. She knows she's not going to get a good swing on that. Puts it into the hands of the blockers, wants to recycle.
And that's just the height of Berkeley Oblad as more for Team Drews. Blossom able to deliver. We looked back at that attack, and Oblad using all of her 6'4" frame. Even Betty tries to go away from the block on that attack, and Oblad just standing arms straight up, able to come up with the denial. But a point back. It won't be long before De La Cruz Mejia finds the scoring column once again.
Yeah, they'll want to get back into some rhythm and communicate, right? A couple of the things that have been the problems right now are Betty wanting to recycle that ball, her players not following around her. A ball dropping between 2 receivers. That's just a communication problem.
Now 9 kills for De La Cruz Mejia. Drews, the soft touch there. Valentine Anderson ready. And that's down the line and in, and give 10 kills now to De La Cruz Mejia. And finally, some easy math for me. That's plus 80 in the kills department for Betty.
We love easy math. We love it.
Just waiting for an even number key.
Yeah. I was always doing my times tables when I was a kid in the car. Hated it.
Did anyone really enjoy that? I'm sure someone did, but it wasn't us. The block from De La Cruz Mejia, and make it 21-17 now. And Team Drews wants to take their second timeout here in this second set, sensing this one could be slip sliding away here.
Yeah, the problem is they've got a couple of points going, but the reason they were getting those points were kind of that Betty's team was just not performing at their best, at their maximum. So yes, that starts with a pressure serve, but those communication problems are not being forced. Those are just issues that Betty's team can deal with pretty simply. So if I'm the Drews side, I'd be concerned that Betty's side will get a little bit of a comeback here.
There's a good look at the huddle for the Team Orange, going over some of those things. They have shown through a set now and change that they can easily be dominating once everything is clicking. And fans, don't forget, be sure to follow AU Pro Volleyball on Instagram to see exclusive content featuring your favorite AU players, including highlights, mic'd ups, behind the scenes action, and more. AU Pro Volleyball on IG. Speaking of that content, we checked in with some of our athletes. What other sport would they want to play if not volleyball? Let's find out.
If I were to play another sport in AU, it would definitely be softball.
If I wasn't playing volleyball, I would probably play basketball, only because I played through high school. Not because I'm good enough to play, but it's the only other sport in AU that I played.
I would probably want to play lacrosse. I have never played lacrosse, but every time that I see it and every time I watch it, it looks so exciting. It looks like so much fun.
I would be such a baller in basketball because I got the handles, I can shoot a little bit.
I will play basketball. I think I can be a good point guard. I'm fast. I don't have to be so tall, so I'm the perfect one. If by any chance someone needs me, I'm here.
I don't know, after I see that three-pointer, Noma, I don't think you're going to be getting many calls. I don't think I would be getting many calls either. I did play basketball in high school, but I didn't last because I was too much of a wimp. I didn't like the full contact sport. I love that volleyball, there's a net, and on my side are all my friends, and on the other side are all my enemies, and never the two shove me.
But real quick, why'd they do Damaris like that?
I know, that was rude.
I can play and then cue up the air ball. So I get it though, Key. You like the idea, be on other side of the nets, not have to intermingle. Savannah Collins, did you play a sport? What else do you have for us?
Definitely, yes. I actually was lucky enough to grow up playing the AU sport, so it's paid off here, being AU's reporter. And being in this role, I've got to hear a little bit of these huddles. It's one of my favorite things. Listening into the Danny Drews huddle, it's a lot of what she talked to me about in the pregame. She said she just wants her hitters to be able to swing for points and not swinging afraid. And that's exactly what they were talking about during that timeout. We have to focus on the positive. We're right there, but if we're not covering, if we're not swinging high, we have to be able to give the hitters some relief in that way by having their back in the coverage. And she just wants them to be able to swing aggressively instead of kind of the situation she didn't want to be in, is playing from behind and how it affects your mentality.
Thanks, Savannah. And Key, similar messaging, right, from Danny Drews from even earlier on. Despite the score, it really wants her team to go after it.
Yeah, and that's a great point Savannah makes, because I think sometimes we talk about coverage in volleyball and it might seem like a little bit of lingo. Like, what are you talking about? Cover your hitters. So if you want your hitters to feel free to swing away, you have to know that the non-hitters are going to kind of get low in defense around you. So if the block does come back, and we saw that once from Betty, she kind of rolled the ball into the hands and it fell on the floor, and she's looking at her team going, why aren't you covering me? That's what we mean about covering your hitters.
22-18 here in the second. Betty serving. Great hustle there to keep that one alive. And then it's right back to De La Cruz Mejia. And now she'll come from the back row. A little too much heat on that one as it goes long. The attack error and the point to Team Drews. They keep hope alive here. 22-19 in the second. Also keep an eye on our match total. You see that right below. So overall in the grand scheme, the team in orange leading by 10. Dixon, easy money.
Cat Bell with a little extra cheer there for Tori Dixon. Great connection there with her middle, or excuse me, her setter. She is the middle, but always being available. That's another thing. If you're a young middle player, or any player really, giving your setter confidence to set you in any occasion. Tori Dixon just up, available. Ball comes in her wheelhouse, she'll score.
Gia Day on now to serve, 23-19. Too much on that, and the service error there. Told you a bit about the points. Service error, for example, a -8, an attack error -12. So just keep in mind, for every good action, there's often a negative action when it comes to tallying up the points on both sides here.
Yeah.
A lot of system here. Oblad tries to put that down. Instead, it's Bell. Has to push that to the corner with the left. Good chance here. Up into the lights. We play on. Valentin Anderson now back to Bell. This time able to split the defense.
Free ball for the orange side is pretty much your guarantee that they're going to get a point. That ball goes right on Nati's head, and then you kind of see this tsunami of offense coming through. Anyone can attack. Where do you block if you're in a purple jersey?
Just that fast. They've hit set point here in the second, 24-20. Berkeley Oblad will let us play at least a little longer. You're exactly right, though, Key. When Valentin Anderson and company can get into position, they look so dangerous.
Oh, they are absolutely lethal. And that's the problem, right? Is the more options that Nati has, the less options that the purple blockers have. The more they have to pay attention to, and then you kind of get stuck.
Hoffman off the block. That's all for the second set. Claire Hoffman continues her strong afternoon, as does Team Orange. De La Cruz Mejia, 40 more points. 25-21, and they're up overall 50-39 with our third set upcoming. All orange in this one through two sets, 25-18, 25-21. Key, a major reason, the work of Kat Bell.
Yeah, she's someone I said in the beginning, you gotta slow her down. There were two big gunslingers in the last match, Betty and Kat Bell. And Kat Bell has so many ways to score. We talked, Savannah told us a little bit about it. Hey, do you take away a little bit more cross? Sure. But then if you leave the space in between, she'll take it. Then you go a little more line, she's going back cross. She's just got all of the things in her toolkit, and I love that little one step up. She doesn't need a huge approach. She doesn't need a whole lot of runway in her approach. She's just quick with her wrist and athletic. She's going high above the blockers.
12 kills Friday night, 11 so far today. As we take a peek at our numbers, 50-39 your overall score in this one.
Yeah, I'm looking at the kills there, right? They're highlighted for you, 36-25. That just tells me Team De La Cruz Mejia are finding themselves in options to score, opportunities to score. Maybe that means on the reception, on the serve receive, they're just getting that ball immediately, or they're transitioning better as well. So they're defending well. We know they have a very defense-minded team with Manami Kojima in that big part of that. So they're getting more opportunities to convert into points through the attack.
Be sure to check out the brand new AU Pro Athletes Marketplace. This hub is for businesses and fans to engage with AU athletes directly on a variety of individual NIL activities. Go to auprosports.com/marketplace to see how you can support your favorite athletes today. Let's send it over to Savannah Collins.
Well, it's neat to see what a captain talks about at the draft come throughout the weekend. After the draft, Betty De La Cruz said that she picked Claire Hoffman because of how great of a passer she is in her ball control. Manami Kojima was a must-have because how comfortable they are next to each other on defense and in serve receive. This team has a 97% positive reception percentage right now. They've only made one error in serve receive all game. And that huddle was comfortable. They were dancing along, just sitting, waiting for this set to start with the mentality of, we're going to go out here and 3-0 sweep this game.
97%, is that good? Ridiculous stats here early.
I mean, that's phenomenal. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That was my sarcasm font, Key.
Oh, gotcha.
We're underway in the third. And the block up front. Good beginning, Berkeley Oblad. We mentioned that she hasn't gotten much time working her way back in. I know it's just one day and one match, but would you guess in this third set she's starting to feel a bit more like herself now coming off of Friday? Will it take longer than that?
I mean, I spoke to her a little bit before the game and said, what have you been working on? Because you've only been back in training for a little bit. She said, I really want to make sure I get that connection with my setters. I want them to trust that I'm going to be up. I want to attack every time. I want the ball, whether it be in offense or in defense. She is the kind of player that wants to be a big part of it.
Big swing from Payne. Betty able to put it across. They go to Drews. The dig there from Lake. Drews pushing that across. Dixon keeps it alive. Back to Betty. A replay. Lake again. Back row. Nunaviller just didn't have the height.
A little long hug there from Dixon to her setter. Just an extra little breather. It's tough out there, these long rallies, especially for a middle. You're going sideways, you're going back and forth across the net, covering a lot of distance.
And we've kept a pretty good pace up today. Not a lot of stoppages, not a lot of timeouts. They're keeping it going.
Yeah, someone's ready to get home and have some dinner.
Drew's handling that. Oblad rejected. Nunaviller. Dixon. How about the height up front? Tori Dixon standing tall at 6'3" and just pops that one right back to from whence it came.
Yeah, Dixon again making moves. She's come from the right side all the way back to the middle, just up in time. She's watching the block, and you can see that Nunaviller there has that ball a little bit behind her. It's an out-of-system play. Can't really see where Tori's block is hanging.
Dixon, so much experience, an alternate for a couple of USA Olympic squads. This time couldn't keep it in play there. Oblad gets the point, but like so many athletes here, played for a variety of countries abroad, and you bring that experience, always makes me wonder what haven't they seen when it comes to the other side, prepared for almost anything. Soft touch there, and it works. De La Cruz Mejia off Drews and in.
Well, Savannah spoke a little bit about it, how well this orange side were receiving. Here's a look at their reception numbers from Friday. In the 70%, all three of these players, and this is why they are in systems so often. This is why they're able to run all of these options, and they continue to do the same here tonight.
Error there from Betty. Make it 3-3. And now Sydney Hilly. Hilly with the ace. And give Hilly plus 12 individually there and give Team Drews the 4-3 edge.
Right after just hyping up the reception of the orange side, they just let it drop between them.
That's the 5th on the season for Hilly in the ace department. Back to Bell. Nobody there, 2 blockers, and it just fell despite Lake trying to make a late rush.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the receiving kind of continues to flow throughout this match, because as I was looking at those numbers, and you saw this team, the orange side, sort of an average of 70% reception. The other teams on Friday were 54, 52, and 47% positive. So this team was far and away much better. I think after a couple of errors, being aced a couple times might look a little different.
Have to crunch some numbers, and meanwhile, Hoffman works the block. You had talked about receiving at a high percentage and about getting in system. What does that feel like when you're on the court and a team like that and everything just seems to be flowing?
Well, it's the kind of the gold standard for volleyball is that when that first contact comes perfectly off the reception and onto the head of the setter, we saw it a couple of times already throughout the match. It's when Nachi then has options, and we're talking specifically about the orange side, but it's when someone like Kayla Caffey on your screen there earlier, she then has to focus on 7 different things at one time, and it brings her efficiency way down. So it's all about that numbers game, part of that cat and mouse game we talked about a lot.
Speaking of a cat, there's Bell on the attack. Nunaviller now. Overpass there, and now Team Drews with a chance to perhaps get into some system as Payne loads that up. Bell with the left. Got to get it across and be mindful of the antenna. Nuneviller does that exactly. Good effort there from Valentine Anderson to try and keep it alive, but a hard-fought point won by Team Drews.
Yeah, excellent hustle there. So Nati using her middle, and then there's the cover that we talk about. Just almost forgot about it, and then dives in. But I think the danger here is if Betty's team falls asleep at the wheel.
6-5 lead for Team Drews. Right back to Caffey. 7-5. You mentioned falling asleep at the wheel. Of course, we only play 3 sets here no matter what, but you always think of the reverse sweep at other levels of volleyball, and it is that 3rd set, right? Someone's up 2-0. They kind of take their foot off the gas to really close out a match.
Because I think you start the match with everyone having the same aggression and intentions. And if you lose focus of that, if you lose sight of your strategy and that aggression and that intensity, you can really let anyone back in, and that's exactly what Betty will not want from her team.
Error there on Drews. Now Bell to serve. Looking middle. Caffey had eyes on that back line. Back to Bell, and there's a touch. Lake trying to get in front of that one, and Kat Bell just blasts it past the purple squad. Coming right back to level things up here at 7.
Kat Bell, one of the 3 players already in double-digit points with herself and Betty and Claire Hoffman. Nobody on the other side yet in double digits.
Block is there. Well done from Team Drews.
That's a great block from Kelsey Payne. Low and tight, one-on-one, taking out that line. Perfect execution. I spoke to her before the match about her being a part of this team, getting some starting roles, some not starting. She said it's all about your adaptability. I have to feel like I'm in the game, but it's a challenge, and I love the challenge.
Nuneviller adds another, but we saw a great replay there on the net cam. It's the blocking technique you were talking about, right? The hands were over the net and made it impossible for that ball to land on her side.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You just cut off those angles.
9-7 lead for Team Drews. And Hoffman this time, well, we just talked about how you cut off those angles, and this was the exact opposite.
And if we get a net cam angle on that, you'll probably see her arms just slightly leaving enough of a gap, because it really is kind of just that tiny little difference between going straight up and going up and over.
9-8, purple in front. Drews controls, Hilly now. Nuneviller works that block. Brooke Nuneviller. Make it 10-8. Again, we direct your attention to the overall match total, 58-49. De La Cruz Mejia leading here. And so Team Drews, they have their work cut out because they have to go on quite a run here offensively, but also slow down the team in orange to try and salvage the overall match score. Bell. Kat Bell, again, the accuracy on that cross-court snipe.
It really is a snipe, isn't it? Because, and I'm looking at Oblad's face afterwards because she's so frustrated. She's doing a little bit of floating, but honestly, she's in a good position. It's just that Kat Bell doesn't really show how much angle she's going to take till the very last minute.
Dump attempt, good idea. Sydney Hilly there dealing with a bit of an overpass and smartly just guides that one across.
Yeah, we saw her do that early days, right? Didn't she have one way back into the corner? I think it was in the first set.
Yeah.
Beating Claire Hoffman there, so she's comfortable at the net. One of the taller setters.
There he goes, 6 feet tall. Drews. Betty puts that across. The reset to Drews, and the kill is there for Danny Drews.
That's good work by Drews, because that's not an easy situation. Everyone in the gym knew where the ball was going. Look how early Dixon and Valentina Anderson are in position. But Dixon having to do a little bit of covering over Nati because she's one of the smaller blockers.
Billy keeps that ball alive as well. Drews will push it across. Team Orange now out of system. Good chance here for Oblad. And Berkeley Oblad coming up with the point. The block error there. And now 13-9, make it 3 in a row here for Team Drews, and they've closed that gap now, 59-52. And another, an ace. Nunaviller. Again, as good as De La Cruz Mejia has been thus far, and yes, they've picked up 2 40-point wins, winning their first 2 sets. There's a lot at stake here in the third as we get a good look, and Hoffman just couldn't control that one. Remember, plus 40 for this set, plus 60 for the match. If Team Drews can come all the way back, they'll get another in their favor. They'll say a violation against De La Cruz Mejia. And don't look now, here comes Team Drews. Purple on the move, playing well here in the third. Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball is fueled by Gatorade. The Arizona Sports and Entertainment Commission is proud to be a champion of women's athletics, supporting incredible events like Athletes Unlimited Volleyball. They are committed to promoting top-tier sports and events that drive economic impact and unite communities. For more information, visit azsportsent.com. Third set action here. Team Drews in front 15-9 and on a tear. Let's go into the game with Brooke Nunaviller.
I love playing at home. I got a big crowd all the time. This group is the best. I hate the light.
Nunaviller is saying she loves playing at home. She's got a big crowd there, and I love that for her. She went over and played in Turkey for a little bit. She knows the experience of being overseas, but being back home, playing in front of friends and family, there is just nothing like it.
From right here in Chandler, Arizona. Meanwhile, Savannah Collins was in the huddle with Team Drews.
We've talked about the improvements this team has been wanting to make, what they liked. Great defense to start off this set. Mary Lake in particular says, hey, I love our talk right now. It feels like we're super in sync. And the coverage, they noticed the improvements in that and how it allowed the hitters to swing more freely. Now, what they're looking for here as the set closes out is be ready to start calling for that ball and taking those big swings. We've seen Betty De La Cruz Mejia kick it into that next gear when she gets behind, and they want to anticipate that and try to continue to slow her down.
Good stuff, Savannah, as Betty, who doesn't call timeouts often, called for a break there. They got a point back, but Oblad returns fire.
And it's a good point you make, Savannah, about slowing down Betty, right? She is an emotional player. Yes, she'll get her kills, but that's a perfect example. They were able to get that touch off of her swing. Then the defense is able to work, and then Oblad able to have a run around the backside. So just kind of frustrating her, chipping away at her emotionally as well as anything else.
And now we have a challenge, captain's challenge coming up on an in or out call. This is initiated by Betty De La Cruz Mejia. Let's get a second look here. This is on the Oblad kill. First glance, looks line. And the challenge unsuccessful, call stands. It was a kill for Oblad.
Yeah, it looked good in real time as well.
It did.
I think that might have just been a slow down the clock kind of situation.
You do get that inadvertent timeout, or maybe the advertent timeout if you're Betty, and just kind of take a chance to catch her breath again here by asking for a challenge. They each get 2 per set. And right back to work is De La Cruz Mejia. So 16-11 here in the third. You look at our overall score, 61-55. De La Cruz Mejia, once they reach 15, they'll have secured the overall match result. But we know that comes with a plus 60 for everyone in orange. However, Team Drews can still get a very valuable 40 points if they can win this third set. So a lot at stake here in the third. More Drews. Bell trying to go over Lake. Near collision there on the back row. It's back to Bell, and Payne's ready. Looking for Drews, denied.
Absolutely rejected by Kat Bell. In the perfect place at the perfect time. Her team's done all the work in the defense, and then look at that right hand. That's the one. Bring it in, throw it down.
And a plus 12 for Kat Bell with the block. Fired up, 16-12. Team Drews still in the lead. Drews goes over that block. Valentine Anderson hustling to keep it alive. Back row, and Hilly is there. And now let's go back to the chair for a chair chat. Aaron Fairs on Team Drews. Thanks for joining us. Aaron, big energy change here in the third. What's been different for Team Drews?
I just think we're playing with more grit. I think the other side has a lot of experience, and they're used to doing things like this, and I think we're just coming together as a team. I think a lot of those players have played together, and we've switched around our team a lot in this draft, and so we're just now starting.
Aaron, what do you work on in training when you know you're going up against a team like Betty? You know she's going to get her kills. What were you guys focusing on yesterday?
Yeah, it's funny because we had kind of our starting side and us kind of mimicking, things that they do, and so they could see it, over and over again, and for us to be able to adjust in the game.
We've got a challenge here as Team De La Cruz Mejia wants to look at something, a touch. We're talking with Aaron Fairs. Aaron, you've played in a variety of countries, different teams. How have you used some of that experience to try and help gel this team together week over week with AU?
Yeah, I think that it's really interesting. I think it's intriguing, like how the league is made and that just kind of how you adjust the fastest. I feel like playing overseas kind of gives you that, I don't know, upper hand on that because you have played and been able to kind of adjust with any country. Sometimes you're speaking English, sometimes you're not. Sometimes it's literally just knowing the game and not even speaking to each other in the same language. So I think that really helps for the people that have played overseas. I think it's an upper hand for sure.
Aaron, what's your team name this week?
The Purple Spikers.
Oh.
Yeah.
How does I don't get it? Purple and Spiker.
Yeah,
Sounds like a Japanese team.
Yeah,
They have like the spiders, the pink spiders, and you're the purple spikers.
Yeah, I mean Danny played there, so
Gotcha.
you know.
Okay. Oh, so that is the connection.
Yeah,
Got
exactly, exactly. I think it's funny. I mean, we make sure she says purple, and we all hear spikers.
Awesome. Well, what are you doing from the bench in particular? What do you do to make sure that your other players are getting some kind of information? Are you seeing things and then feeding it back? How does that work on your team?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a different perspective. Like when you're playing and when you're on the bench, that when we have timeouts, that you go and talk to your position and tell them what you're seeing. I think sometimes it's easier definitely to see from the side than it is from playing. So just making sure each one of us is grabbing our actual position and letting them know what we see.
Erin Fair's Team Drews, a.k.a. Purple Spikers. Thanks for stopping by. There it is.
Nails as well.
Yes.
Love it.
The challenge here. It's been a forensic analysis. We'll take a look at what is up for debate.
But they're looking at a touch there. I don't see any fingers moving, but it is extremely close. Oh, yeah. Wait, I take it back. Oh. I thought I saw a little finger there on Danny Drews.
They say no. Say not enough video, apparently.
All right.
Those are tough, too, because it is a fingertip or a fingernail in some cases. Hard to really get the closest possible look. And also, you always think about having to have real conclusive video evidence. Nunaviller, the hustle once again. Bell, Kat Bell. Make it 18-13.
I just keep watching her kind of in awe. And this is exactly why. We've seen her go sharp cross, right? She's been pummeling Payne on the cross court. And now she gets a little sliver more line, and she takes it.
Pummeling Payne, by the way. Great alliteration there. Gia Day on to serve. 18-13. Caffey comes right back with a point for her side. And so Team Drews looking sharp here. They may run out of daylight when it comes to the overall match, but in a good spot to take this third set. And again, we talked about it Friday night. Teams trying to build. Even if they don't win the match, can they kind of lift off that third set and carry it into the next day of action? Quick set to Caffey again, and on the back line, it's there.
I love Hilly feeding Caffey more and more as this match progresses, because they talked about it in the beginning, right? Drew said, we want to establish that zone. We don't want to just rely on a couple of players in the pins, but you can forget that as the match goes on. It can kind of slip your mind, but it's still something on the top of Hilly's mind.
Off the block. Payne can't believe it, and that'll give a point back to De La Cruz Mejia. So 20-14. So Team in Orange one away from confirming the match victory. However, all Team Drews would have to do a little 5-0 run here, and they're out the door, stealing a victory. Nunaviller. And they'll give the point to the Team in Orange, saying she went long, and Danny Drews immediately signals for challenge. She wants a touch call on that last play, because as it stands right now, that would give De La Cruz Mejia 15. It would give them the match. But we'll have a captain's challenge first from Danny Drews.
I wonder if the players down there know what the match sort of magic number is. I wonder if they're paying attention to that kind of thing, or if that's something they don't focus on, because it's an interesting time to call a challenge. If you were to look at that, you'd think, wasn't really close. But if you think of it in terms of, okay, the match overall goes to the other side right now, then it is a perfect time to call a challenge.
I do wonder, facilitator or Thomas Robson, maybe someone there on the bench saying, hey, call a challenge, it's worth taking a look. Of course, to no avail, as with that result and no overturn, Team De La Cruz Mejia confirms victory here in this one against Team Drews. They get the point there as well. So add 60 to everyone in orange. However, Team Drews still with a chance to pick up 40 for their team in this third set if they can hang on with a victory. And that'll help. Kelsey Payne
right, Miss Payne? She's been a little quieter than I would have liked tonight. She's had 22 opportunities to score, only converted on 4 of them. And she was someone I wanted to see a lot more action from.
Claiming with 57 kills on the year. Kojima, heck of a dig. We play on. Oblad didn't get a great touch on that ball, but violation there on the orange and give the point to Team Drews.
Yeah, that's all that's on the purple mind right now. Finish out this set, take those victory points from the one set, because every single point, as it comes down, as the leaderboard continues to shift, and Kayla Caffey gets another few points for an ace serve. She's climbing the leaderboard with that, and you'll see these points as the season progresses becomes more and more important.
The block, the ace, 2 of the biggest individual things you could do, plus 12 for each. That's the 6th on the season for Caffey. Keep an eye on our overall leaderboard as you take a look there. Another big result here for Team Drews. So they have found their stride for the overall match. A little too late, but they can build on this with week 3 coming to a close tomorrow. 4 in a row there for Team Drews, and they've got set point here in the 3rd to close this one out. Nunneviller. There it is. Team Drews finishes with a flourish. They take the 3rd, 25-16, plus 40 for everyone in purple. Team De La Cruz Mejia, they're still happy because they've secured the match. They get plus 60 on top of their set 1 and 2 victories. And so it all goes into the tally here for both sides as it reshuffles our leaderboard, with again, this being the middle point of the year. Athletes starting to carve out their spot with eyes on an overall championship after week 5.
I was hugely impressed with this De La Cruz Mejia side, as we knew we would be. We talked about her draft strategy. She picked some really crucial ingredients. That pass, that first contact, a really big part of it. It broke down a little bit towards the end there, and I think that's what Drews capitalized on, some miscommunications, but overall a solid performance from Betty's team and from her draftees.
Yeah, what an opportunity too for De La Cruz Mejia to say, look, we took 2 sets, we got the match, we can even tighten this up a little better and be exceptionally sharp come tomorrow's competition as they get together here for the team shot. And Kat Bell, as we mentioned, so good once again. 15 big kills.
Yeah, she is a powerhouse, and we talk about it over and over. Why? She's got angles. Her athleticism allows her, even out of system. You see she got a set from the libero. Watch her slice it deep cross, and then watch her go back down the line. She's playing cat and mouse with the defenders, with the blockers, and she uses her court vision to be an incredible weapon for Betty.
So Kat Bell, she plays a major role, as does Betty. And speaking of Kat Bell, she's standing by now with our own Savannah Collins.
Kat, 15 kills today. You were the leader on offense for this team. What fueled that kind of performance from you today?
Honestly, I feel like the last game I was a little bit jittery, and just Nazi just being patient with me and being my ear about tonight. So Nazi trusted me, Betty trusted me, for sure. Them helping me out tonight, most definitely.
You gave the block defense fits today at the net. Did you feel unpredictable in the match?
A little bit, but then once I got confident, I felt like our chemistry was good. So I feel like from then outcome's gonna be up to us. So tonight felt like a really good night to win tonight.
This team looks comfortable, looks relaxed. Take me into these huddles and what it's like being a part of this orange squad this week.
I like being here. I think this team is very veteran. We have a lot of good leaders. Betty is an amazing captain, also Nati as well. So just having those veterans here from AU is amazing, just to be able to lead us as well. So powers to them.
2-0 start. How do you close out the weekend perfect going into the final day?
Focusing on our side, do what we can do as a team together, and hopefully going 3-0 the next match. So that's the plan.
Thank you, Kat. Appreciate it. Congrats on a great game. Greg, back to you.
Thanks, Savannah. Thank you, Kat. Excellent effort for Kat Bell, all part of a big win as we look at our overall league leaderboard. Keep in mind, MVP points not included in this, but De La Cruz Mejia continues to add 24-93 now. No surprise, a lot of folks in Orange Key climbing up the ladder.
Yeah, 3 of those players are in the top spots right now between Betty, Manami, and Natty. So if they continue this kind of run, and this is what we saw last week and after week 1, is the team that is the strongest, those are the players that end up at the top, and they get split up and they have to pick their own teams and they become their own captains. That'd be fascinating to me to see Betty, Manami, and Natty, all 3 of them split up, because they've been part of a power combination the last couple weeks.
It tends to be difficult to keep these teams together, right? Yeah. As everyone flourishes, eventually the squads get divided, captains are selected. But for now, Team Orange thriving with their group. Don't forget, we've got more to come, but our final in this one, it's all Team Orange. They take the victory over Team Drews. Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball continues tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern as Team Member Mene faces Team Abercrombie. I'm Bally. For Key Michael, Savannah Collins, and our entire crew, I'm Greg Meskel. Thanks for watching.